Manchester City close to selling forward Julian Alvarez to Atletico Madrid in a £70 million deal, opening the door for Chelsea to sign Atleti striker Samu Omorodion for around 30 million or so, we're told. Joining us for more on the transfer merry-go-round is our chief football correspondent and a man who definitely can't pole vault. Well, I don't think he can. Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Good morning. I wouldn't want to be that pole if I attempted it, would you?
Brilliant. Look, well, let's start with Alvarez. What's going on between Alvarez and City, and why does City feel that he is expendable, if you like?
Well, I think history tells us with Pep Guardiola that as soon as a player starts hankering for a move, if they feel they're not part of his plans, then he's perfectly happy to let them move on. He did it with Riyad Mahrez. He did it with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko when they went to Arsenal. And I think we're very much in that territory with Alvarez now. This is going to be a big profit for Manchester City as well. They paid £14 million for Alvarez when he was really just an unknown talent. He's since won the World Cup. He's won the Copa America. He actually started last season, if you remember, in really good form, playing alongside Erling Haaland. But I think he feels like his chances will be limited this term, hence the fact that he's pushing for this move. But he's going to take an offer well in excess of £70 million. Talks between the two clubs advanced yesterday. And we're into domino territory now because we broke the news this time yesterday that Conor Gallagher was due to fly to Madrid to undergo a medical at Atleti and sign his contract. He didn't actually board that flight in the end because Chelsea are trying to sign Samu from Atletico. So there's a little bit of a hold up while that deal goes through. And of course, in order for Atletico to sell Samu, they want to be sure they're getting Alvarez. So at the moment, Gallagher is literally in the departure lounge. There's no suggestion this deal won't go ahead, but he's just having to bide his time.
That's weird. I mean, Crookie, can you imagine how he feels, Conor Gallagher? Honestly, one thing is, again, you know, you get the opportunity to go to. He's probably been told, look, a deal's been done with Atletico Madrid, and all of a sudden he thinks he's going. Now all of a sudden he's having to wait and he's hanging around just in case they want to do something else. It does seem like a scattergun approach, I've got to tell you, for the way that Chelsea are going about their work here. It really does. Hoping that something sticks and hoping that something works.
Yeah, and I think, again, Maresca alluded to it overnight. He was asked about the PSR rules, and he said it's not a Chelsea problem, it's a Premier League problem. That was the direct quote from the new Chelsea manager. And this is PSR related because the fees are pretty similar, €40 million for Samu, same for Conor Gallagher. The difference is Chelsea can record the money they receive for Gallagher as pure profit, and they can balance what they're going to pay for Samu over the course of his contract. So I do think PSR has got a lot to answer for in this case.
Well, I mean, Andy talks about scattergun approach. Samu, he was on loan last season. He can't get in the Atletico side. He was out on loan at Alaves last season. He's 20. Is that what Chelsea need? Don't they need somebody with a bit more experience in that front line?
I'm 100% in agreement with you. I think for me, the two priorities for Chelsea this summer were signing a proven number 9 and a top-class goalkeeper. I've got to say, I've got doubts about the goalkeeper they have signed from Villarreal. Very good with his feet, I'm told, but maybe not quite so clever with his hands, which for me is quite a key part of being a goalkeeper. I thought they would go for Victor Osimhen. Looks like that deal is proving too difficult. Even someone like an Ivan Toney, we had Darren McCantoner in with Jim White and myself yesterday, and he was really pushing Ivan Toney for a big move. He was trying to push him towards Manchester United, but he doesn't fit the age profile these clubs are looking for now because there's no sell-on value. If you give to Ivan Toney at 28 a 3 or 4 year contract, you're not going to make that money back. And again, with PSR, that seems to be the way these clubs are going now.
Yeah. Another young defender, Alfie Gilchrist, he's gone out on loan, Crookie, to Sheffield United. And again, a young player there that kind of started to make ground last season. I was really impressed when I watched him. I thought he was excellent. And I just, we've been speaking about it earlier this morning, the mindset of the younger players now at the club. You've got to be careful the way that you're moving forward and what sort of young player you're starting to breed.
Yeah, because really, if you're Chelsea now, you're not selling the dream of a pathway into the first team. You're selling the dream into getting a couple of games in the first team and then being sold for a profit. What I would say is that Manchester City have done that very successfully for the past few years. They've been brilliant at getting big money for young players with relatively little experience. So again, it does seem to be the model. In terms of Sheffield United, I think they're kicking off the Championship season against Preston, if I'm not mistaken, on Friday night. I think they're dark horses, to come straight back up. I think they've done some really good business this summer, and I agree with you. I think Gilchrist at that level could be a very shrewd signing.
We were just talking a couple of minutes ago, Crookie, about what a great summer West Ham have had so far. Is this Aaron Wan-Bissaka deal with Manchester United going to be done?
There's certainly confidence, and I know that his camp are really trying to push this move, but we're in a bit of a Harry Maguire situation. If you remember this time last year, United had accepted an offer from West Ham for Maguire. Looked like he was on his way. He didn't go in the end because he would have had to take a pay cut, and he asked Manchester United to top up his wages. They refused, and he ended up staying. I think Wan-Bissaka has made a similar request, which isn't unusual when you leave one of the big clubs and you take a little bit of a step down in terms of stature of club and salary. So it'll be interesting to see if United are willing to do for Wan-Bissaka what they wouldn't do for Maguire last summer. But I think for West Ham, I think he'd be a great addition. I've spoken about this on the programme before. In terms of defending, particularly in those one-on-one situations, I don't think there are too many better fullbacks than Wan-Bissaka in the league.
Completely agree. Crookie, just briefly, finally, Dominic Solanke, could Bournemouth possibly sell him? I'm seeing he's being linked with Tottenham.
Yeah, there's definite interest there. It's not gone much further than that at this moment in time. I've actually wrote a piece on my notebook, which will be published on the talkSPORT website very shortly. I think this is directly linked to Richarlison. There's interest from Saudi Arabia. I was told yesterday the Saudi deal makers are willing to make an offer, willing to meet Tottenham's £60 million valuation for Richarlison. If that does happen, clearly they're going to need a replacement. The two names in the frame are Dominic Solanke and Tonio are mentioned, so certainly one to watch.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.